Friday, beautiful people. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It is February 25th, 2022, day number 40 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets under the 4-year consecutive count, day 1050. Today we're reading some more of Tablet B, which we might finish it today, of the Complete Annunaki Bible, and we're going to pick that back up on page 67. And when we get done with that, we're going to possibly finish reading the rest of chapter 24, and that begins on page 184 of my big toe. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Auntie Belinda Brown, shalom, shalom, and grand rising to all. Robert, Betswabu. All right, y'all. So we say we was just in the beginning, and I think at this point we just gonna make it quick and simple and sweet. Oh, y'all, continue to lead us and guide us into all truth and help us to understand and have the strength and the courage to be able to put away any kind of dogma that we still may be clinging on to that's keeping us from growing. And it's just going to be simple as that. Jen, shalom, shalom. Look like you got a question. You just said, Pam, got a question before we get started? Or you want to share something? Or did you send me an email? Because I ain't checked my email in a couple of days. All right. Let's see. A little marker. Okay. You might still be typing. All right, y'all. So we pause on page 67. No question. Oh, okay. Okay. Thought you had a question the way you said it. Remind me of how my sister, she's like, Pam. And I'm like, yeah, girl, what? Okay. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. So page 67 of the Complete Annunaki Bible, Tablet B. The next section we're reading is coming forth and crossing the 7 gates. And in the brackets, it has Egyptian and it has a footnote 29. And footnote 29 says, the Egyptian recension is included for comparison and posterity. Okay. At the first gate, the name of the gatekeeper is Sekhet He Asht Ayu. The name of the watcher is Smiti. The name of the herald is Hak Haru. I am the mighty one who has created his own light, coming forth to you, Osiris, purified from all that which offended thee. I adore thee, Osiris. Lead me on a hidden path. Hail to you, Osiris, in thy might and strength of Ra-Stu. Rise up, Osiris, and conquer in Ab-Tu. You move around the heavens, sailing in the presence of Ra. You gaze upon all the knowledgeable beings. Hail to you, Ra, who moves around the path of heaven daily. Osiris, I say that I am truly the Sahu, and the Sahu is the spirit body. I say that I am truly the Sahu, spirit body of the god Osiris. I request of you not to let me be turned away. Let me not be thrown against the wall of blazing fire. Let the way be open to me in Rastu. Let the pain of the Osiris be relieved, and embrace that which the balance is weighed against. Let a path be made clear for the Osiris in a great valley. Coming forth, let the Osiris have the true light to guide him on his way. At the second gate, the name of the gatekeeper is Unhacked. The name of the watcher is Sekher. The name of the herald is Ust. Coming forth, he moves to carry out his heart's desire, and he weighs the words as the second of Thoth. the strength which protects Thoth, humbles the hidden Ma'ati gods, who feed upon Ma'at for nourishment during the years of their lives. He moves, and at the right time I offer up my offerings to him, coming forth, and I enter to advance on the path. Grant me the decree that I may continue to travel the way. Linda, morning, Trina, that's Swabble, that's Swabble. Hey, girls, hey. And that I may rise to the sight of Ra and of those who offer up their offerings to Ra. Audrey, shalom. Number 3, at the third gate, the name of the gatekeeper is Unam Hau Atu in Pihui. The name of the watcher is Ceres Her. The name of the herald is AA. It is A, but it's AA. So I just said AA. Okay. I am he who was hidden in the great deep. I am the judge of the Rehui. Come forth, I have absolved the offense that was upon Osiris. Coming forth from the earth, I secure the place where he stands. I have established the gate in Abtu. I have opened up the way through Rastu. I have relieved the pain which was in Osiris. I have balanced the place on which he stands, and I have made a clear path that he may shine brilliantly in the Rastu. Hey Tiffany, you not getting notifications? I'm not sure. I don't know. Facebook be doing this thing sometime. I don't know. You just gotta check. But today we were 15 minutes late. It could be a part of the problem. I don't know. But I did make a post, but you still should have got a notification. Yahuwah is one. Yes. Oh, great spirit of all life. Fill us with your pure energy that we walk and talk with you. Oh, great spirit guiding us. Hallelujah. I love your prayers in the morning. Thank you. Yahuwah is one. And everybody over there behind that screen name. Okay. Number 4, at the fourth gate, the prayer of the gatekeeper is Kesef Her Asht Haru. The name of the watcher is Ceres Tepu. The name of the herald is Hesephat. Coming forth, I am the bull of heaven, the son of the ancestress of Osiris. May the father of Osiris, the lord of the gods, may he bear witness on his behalf. I have weighed the souls of the guilty in judgment. Coming forth, I bring to him the eternal life. I am the son of Osiris, and I have accomplished the journey. Coming forth, I have advanced to Kurt Neter. Yeah, Kahert Neter. Number 5, at the fifth gate, the name of the gatekeeper is Ankh Infant. I know I'm probably screwing these names up, y'all. So sorry in advance. Well, it's not so much in advance anymore. I done already screwed some up afterwards too, before and after, and all while through. I'm sorry. I'm still learning how to pronounce them. Okay. The name of the watcher is Shabu. The name of the herald is Tebher Ka Heft. Coming forth, I have brought to you the jawbone in Ra stew. Coming forth, I have brought to you the backbone in Anu. I have gathered together the many parts of Osiris. I have kept Pept away for you. I have spit upon the wounds of his body. I have made myself a path among you. I have become the eldest one among you. I have made the offerings of sacrifices to Osiris. I have defended him with the word of truth. I have gathered together his bones and collected all his parts. Number 6, at the sixth gate, the keeper of the name of the gatekeeper is Atek Tau Kehak Kerhu. And the name of the watcher is An Her. The name of the herald is Atis Her Ari She. I have come forth daily. I have come forth daily. I have made for myself a way through. I have mastered that which was created by Anpu, and in the brackets it has Anubis. I am the Lord of the earth, crown of the heavens. I am the keeper of the arcane words of magic power. In brackets it has Heku. Yeah, Haku. Yeah, I think that's her Haku, 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 Hiku. One of them. It's words of power. I know, because I was looking at that in one of the other books. It's called a haku, a hiku. Maybe I'm just saying it wrong. And I am the avenger according to the ancient covenant. I have demanded justice for the injury to the eye, as I have defended Osiris and embraced by destiny or journey, by the secret word, which is truth, let me come forth. Number 7, at the 7th gate, the name of the gatekeeper is Sekhmet M. Su Sin. The name of the watcher is Ee Ma Karu. The name of the herald is Hesef Chemi. Osiris, I have come forth to be purified of all that is unholy. Osiris, as you have come forth through the heavens, you see Ra and the beings who have undefiled knowledge. Hail to you, the one. Hail to you who travels the heavens in the Sektet boat. He comes forth strong, and I speak to his Sahu, spirit body. Prepare the favorable way for me to lead me to you. Dana, hey girl, hey. Shayla, hey girl, hey. All right. The next section is coming forth and crossing the 21 secret gates of the house of Osiris. Number 1, I think that's 20. Yeah, 21. There's a typo. The N and the E is switched around, but it looks like 21. Okay, hold on, let me see. Yeah, it's 21. 21 being the longest. Okay. Number 1, at the first gate, coming forth, I see the lady of tremblings, high in stature, the sovereign lady, the lady of destruction, and and who needs but speak the words to drive back the destroyer, and who can deliver us from the destruction of him that comes, and the name of her gatekeeper is Neruit. Number 2, at the second gate, coming forth, I see the lady of heaven, the mistress of the two lands, the lady who devours by fire, the lady of mortals, and who is infinitely greater than any mere human being. And the name of her gatekeeper is Meshpatah. At the third gate, coming forth, I see the lady of the altar of offerings, the mighty lady to whom sacrifices are made, tremendously beloved of all the gods, sailing the river toward Abydos, and the name of her gatekeeper is Sebka. At the fourth gate, coming forth, I see the victorious one with swords, the mistress of the two lands, destroyer of the enemies of the still-hearted Osiris, who needs but speak the words to relieve suffering of the people, and the name of her gatekeeper is Neku. At the fifth gate, coming forth, I see the flames, the lady of fire, incinerating the treaties made to her by the untrue, who permits none but the true to approach. And the name of her gatekeeper is Henti Reku. At the sixth gate, coming forth, I see the lady of the light, the lady who roars mightily, whose words cannot be comprehended by men. Her kind word, I'm sorry, her kind has not been formed since the beginning, and I see serpents which are unknown to men. They are brought forth before the still-hearted Osiris, and the name of her gatekeeper is Samati. At the seventh gate, coming forth, I see the vestments enveloping the helpless one, the lady who weeps and lover of that which is hidden, and the name of her gatekeeper is Saktif. At the eighth gate, coming forth, I see the blazing and formless fire, the unquenchable fire, the boundless tongues of flame, the irresistible self-annihilation, the very gate of death itself, which no mortal can pass. And the name of her gatekeeper is Kehut Chetef. At the ninth gate, coming forth, I see the lady of strength, who quiets the hearts of the offspring of her Lord. Her size is 350 kahets. She is clothed with the green stone of the south. She binds the divine form to clothe the helpless one, lady of all men and devourer queen. And the name of her gatekeeper is Ari Su Shetsef. At the 10th gate coming forth, I see the goddess of the siren, the lady who causes her servants to mourn, the awful one who terrifies for self delight, and yet who herself remains unshaken by her deeds. And the name of her gatekeeper is Sekhener. At the 11th gate coming forth, I have made my way through the gates, and I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee, she who is the slayer, consumer of the fiends by fire, the mistress of every gate, the lady who was heralded on the day of darkness. This is your name. At the 12th gate coming forth, I have made my way through the gates, and I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee, the invoker of the two lands, the destroyer of those who come before you by fire, the lady of spirits who obeys the word of the Lord. This is your name. At the 13th gate coming forth, I have made my way through the gates, and I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee. Osiris embraces her to produce Hapi, and Hapi is spirit of the Nile, emitter of splendor from the hidden places of Osiris. This is your name. At the 14th gate, coming forth, I have made my way through the gates, and I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of her who is within thee, the lady of might, the lady who tramples red demons, the keeper of the festival of Hakur. This is your name. At the 15th gate, coming forth, I see the fiend, red of hair and eyes, the lady who appears at night. Let her hands be given to the steel hearted Osiris in his hour. Let her advance and go forward. This is your name. At the 16th gate, coming forth, I see the terrible one, the lady of the storms, the destroyer of the souls of men, the devourer of the bodies of men, the order maker, producer, and mark and maker of the slaughter. This is your name. At the 17th gate, coming forth, I see the separator of blood, a Hebit, the lady of Har, or the lady of hair. This is your name. At the 18th gate, coming forth, I see the fire lover, the pure lady, the lady who loves slaughterings, the queen of beheading, the devoted one, the lady of the great house, the slaughterer of the fiends at eventide. This is your name. At the 19th gate, coming forth, I see the light giver of life, the light that blazes all day long, the lady of strength, and of the very writings of the Thoth. This is your name. At the 20th gate, coming forth, I see the dweller in the cavern of her Lord, the lady that veils her creations, the conqueror, devourer of hearts. This is your name. Yeah, Tiffany, all ladies, huh? You know what's interesting though, when you said that, it reminded me when we was reading Legends of the Jews. Remember when Moses passed away, right? Remember how his soul was it Moses? Was it Abraham? I think it was Moses. Yeah, I think it was Moses. Okay. Yeah, it was Moses. So remember that it was saying his soul was so righteous. He was so righteous of a man that his soul was heavy, that nobody could lift him, that the creator himself would have to go and retrieve Moses' spirit. That Moses' spirit inwardly, although Moses was male outside, his spirit was referred to as daughter. So when I read, I'm like, wait, huh? Is that a misprint? But as I read more, I understand it this way now, right? Some people may still kind of, but as I'm understanding energy, in relation to the creator, whether we're male or female, right? We are considered female energy, even the men, right? So that's how at this point, as of today, right? So everybody walking around here, even if you're manifested in the physical realm as a male, the energy you wield in relation to the creator, right? In the relation to the creative source, we're like the female part portion of that power, right? But in relation to one another, then they wield that male energy, right? To bring completeness in this realm where we live. But when we step into that realm, the energy that we wield, male or female, is all like the female energy alike, so if that makes sense. Okay. At the 20th gate, coming forth, I see the dweller in the cavern of her Lord, the lady that veils her creations, the conqueror, devourer of hearts. This is your name. And the last gate is the 21st gate, and this one is pretty long. At the 21st gate, coming forth, I see the blade which cuts true, when its name is intoned, the slayer of those who approach the flame. This is your name. The lady possessing hidden plans, and the Osiris of Aphanka possesses the true words. Hail, says Horus, to the 21st gate of the still-hearted Osiris. Coming forth, I have made my way through the gates, and I know you, and I know your name, and I know the name of the goddess that guards thee, the sword that destroys by the invocation of its own name, stinking face, destroyer of he that approaches the flame. That is your name. That might be our title for today, stinking faced. Maybe stinking face and something that got to do with the ladies today. Stinking face, destroyer of he that approaches the flame. This is your name. You keep the hidden secrets of the avenger of the God. You guard the hidden things. Aman is his name, causing the ash, cedar trees not to grow, the shinnu, acacia trees, not to bloom, and preventing copper from being found in the earth. The T'Chacha, chief gods of this gate, are the seven gods. T'Chin is the first name, and what? Anth is Anthchch. In English, that's a nightmare word to me. That's not even a word, but it's Anth is the second. Hetepmes is the third name. Mesep is the fourth name. Uchara is the fifth name. Bek is the sixth name. And Anpu or Anubis is the final name. Coming forth, I have made the way through. I am Menu Haru, the avenger of his father, the heir of his father, Unefer. Coming forth, I have given sacrifice to my father Osiris. Coming forth, I have overthrown the enemies of Osiris. I have come forth daily with the word of truth. In the house of my father Tim, the Lord of Anu, and I, the Osiris Aphanka. I messed it up. Whose word is truth in the southern heaven. I have done what is right for him that has made what is right, and I have celebrated the Lord of the festival of Hakur. Coming forth, I have acted as the leader of the festivals. Coming forth, I have given cakes to the lords of the altar of offerings. Coming forth, I have been the leader of proprietary offerings. Coming forth, I am the protector of the Ba, the soul, and I have made the Benu bird appear by my invocation. I come forth daily to the house of the God to make offerings of incense. I have come with the shinti or the tunic, and I have set the Neshim boat on the river. Coming forth, I have taken the word of Osiris, Kenti, Amintio, and I have set the word of truth against the enemies of Osiris. I have taken all of the enemies of Osiris to the eastern slaughterhouse. Never shall they escape from the guardianship of the god Keb. Coming forth, I have made the Kafu, gods of Ra, take notice. I have shown his word to be the word of truth. I have come forth as a scribe, and I have explained the writings it says if gods, but I think that should be of gods. I have explained the writings of gods. I have come forth as a scribe, and I have explained the writings of gods. Yeah, I think that's of, because I've seen a couple typos, so I think that's a typo. But if not, it says if gods, and it doesn't really make sense. Okay. I have caused the God to have power over his legs again. I have come forth to the mountain home of Anubis. Coming forth, I have seen the chief of the hall of Seth. Invisibly, I have come forth to enter into Rastu. I have found for myself the gate to the outside. I have approached Nerutef, and I have sailed up the river to Abydos. I have performed the rites and rituals of Hu and Sa. Coming forth, I have entered the house of Astes. I have made petitions to the Kati, which is gods. I have made offerings to Sekhmet in the temple of Net, or elder gods. Invisibly, I have come forth to enter into Rastu. Rastu is Rastau. And I have found for myself the gate to the outside. I have approached Nerutef and sailed up the river to Abydos. I have performed the rites and rituals of Hu and Sa. Coming forth, I have been received, crowned the risen king. I find my seat upon the throne that is belonging to my Father, the God who was first in existence at the beginning. I have given homage to the Meshkin of Ta Chesert. I open my mouth to be filled with Ma'at, truth of the gods. I have come forth to overwhelm the Ak Haku, serpents. I have come forth into the great house of the gods, and my risen body has been perfected. Long have I allowed myself to travel in the boat of Hai, or Hai, Hai. Coming forth, I have entered into the house of Astes. I have approached to pay homage to the Kati and Sekhmet, who are in Anu at the temple of the elder gods. Coming forth, I hear the great god Osiris speak to me these words: You have come forth, and you shall be a favorite one in Tetu. You have come forth, my Osiris Afukant, whose word is truth, and the son of the lady, shirt in Menu, whose word is truth. Yeah, 27 minutes. Okay, so the next tablet is tablet C, Book of Crossings and the Underworld. It's a little bit long, but we're gonna read a little bit of it. Okay. Book of Crossings and the Underworld. This is the Book of Crossings and the descent of Inanna, Ishtar, Isis into the underworld, and of the crossings of the dead, rituals that priests of Ani and Nu have called the opening of the mouth. Now, the more I study and look into some of this stuff, y'all, T'Challa. Dana, I just saw your comment. The more I look into this and looking at death and what really happens, and looking at some of the near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences that people have when some of them have died and they come back, or they're brought back, and what they see, it makes me begin to wonder, right? Some people actually change and become more spiritual, not necessarily that they saw hell or heaven. Now, some people will like pass away for a quick moment, and then because it'll be some kind of medical issue, and the doctors will bring them out and they'll call that a near-death experience, and they say that they didn't saw hell or heaven while they was gone. Now I kind of understand, because while I'm still going through all of this, I was like, okay, clearly another world exists, and I've been there, and I wasn't like almost dead to see it. Like, I literally came out of my body, I could see my body, and I'm like, oh snap, this really works. The last month or so, as we've been, experimenting how to operate this body. Yes, baby.
Did you not go on your iPad?
I did. I literally just punched in
there.
Well, later. Okay. Well, you're not gonna throw a fit right here, because I let you want it for like an hour last night before you went to bed. All right, Isaiah. Okay. So, but the more I began to think about it, so I'm like, okay, so now what I began to think about, I'm like, okay, this is real. So I started to think about Christians or people who have maybe lived a certain life, but then after they had this near death experience, they then convert over into Christianity. I'm like, okay, well, I get it, because it's really, I ain't gonna say it's really, but more outspoken people on what's happening to you. And when you see certain things, it's like the church, and they count it as either heaven or hell, right? But that's their terms for it. But the more I read and do more a little inspection into people's different experiences, what I'm beginning to understand is based on, right? This is how powerful the mind is. Based on your belief, right? It is crazy. And I began to understand a little bit more while reading through. Like, I'm done with Mr. Monroe, his trilogy. I'm like completely done with it, y'all. I'm like, I should go through it a second time, which I probably am. But getting into his far journeys, which is his first one is Journeys Out of the Body. Then the second one is Far Journeys. And then the last one is Journeys Beyond or something. I forget the name. But anyway, in that particular one, it goes into more detail, and they call those different segments of death where you find, like, if you go into the spiritual world or you die, there's different places you can go, right? That would what they found out by doing experiments and going in and out, and they do it all scientifically, right? They hook you up to the machines, they gather data, they go in themselves after they've been trained, they do all of this, and they label the different areas you see, like focus, the different focus numbers, and it's like the higher 20s, right? So people who are super religious, when they leave this realm, like if they believe in heaven and hell, they're going to go to this place that they've created themselves, that they believe, right? And it's not necessarily a place, but it is a place. Everybody who holds that certain type of belief, they're gathered to this certain place until they're able to transition out of that, because the learning doesn't stop when you leave this realm. Like, literally, we're literally, like, remember we talked about it before, even reading through the book of Esdras, or third and fourth Ezra. It talks about it when Ezra was doing all this fasting, and Yah was revealing to him what the earth is like. He said the earth is like a womb, right? And when we leave the earth, we're actually really being born, right? So we're like the unseen child growing in the mother's belly, with the earth being the womb of the mother, right? I'm like, holy crap, that makes a lot of sense, right? So you think about the process of growth, right? And when you're born into the spirit realm, you either gonna go as a stillborn baby, you're gonna be aborted somehow, you're gonna abort yourself because of whatever you done here. But your life really doesn't begin to happen until you transition out of this realm, right? Because remember, the way that they taught us about death, like, I'm really, really, it's like it just really sunk in over the last couple of days. Like, when we die, we don't die like the Western world teaches us. They are still here, right? Like, their energy, which is why some people say, oh, well, you tripping, that's the ghost of your grandmother. No, my G, that's probably really her grandmother, right? They are still here. They've just lost the ability to function in this realm because of whatever happened to their physical body, right? But they can linger around. Some of them will linger around. From what I understand now, it could be days, it could be years, it could be thousands of years, right? People say, oh, their ancestors showed up, and I'm putting all the terminology and stuff together, and it's like it's the same thing. And what we label and call demons, it's not really demons. A lot of time it's not really demons. It really could be the spirit of somebody who's passed away that's still stuck in this realm. And those that are still, like, stuck here, and they, like, haunt people. It's terrible terms, but so y'all get what I'm saying. The ones who haunt family members, or you go in a house and spirits are still there, is because those people or those spirits who have just transitioned, or they could have transitioned years ago, maybe decades ago, they could be older spirits. But if they're still stuck here, to where they're still uh kind of interacting with us, where they can cause some little things to happen and we can see, but we don't see nobody there, is because when they passed away, their level of vibration was so low that they can't lift up higher at this point. Something has to happen. Is literally, when I say, y'all, earth is literally a school for the spirits, or a school for the gods. That is literally what this is, because learning truly begins when you actually transition and you lose this body, but you get this opportunity to come here and learn how to manipulate energy with this body. This is the only, from what I'm understanding now, this is the only realm to where you get physical bodies like this, right? But there's a purpose why we get physical bodies like this, with our spirits being trapped into it and given this period of time to grow it and develop it, because everything that we learn here we should take with us. But if you're in a habit of living a they call it lower vibrational life, where your energy just resonates on the lowest level, meaning you're so material about everything, like sex is your number one thinking thing that you think about all the time, food and eating other flesh, whether it's flesh of animals or flesh of other human beings, because you got both kinds, right? It's going to keep your spirit. It literally, and I forget what it was, somebody's watching, they made a mention of a, but and I forgot the name of the book, the Oshape or something. But I looked into it after they said it. But some of that stuff I had kind of already been familiar with just by studying some other stuff. But I found it in there. I'll share it with y'all. It is actually coming today. But I was able to pull up some stuff and kind of read through. I was like, oh, well, yeah, I learned that over here. So it's a lot of truth in it from what I've seen so far. And I forget the name of the person. I got to go back to yesterday's video. But thank you for mentioning that particular book. um but I've learned it just by studying energy and actually paying attention to myself and what's been happening to me, and actually being able to come out of the body and going from a state of not knowing what's happening to me when it just happens spontaneously, to understanding that I can make it happen on purpose. And it happens to us spontaneously, so we can catch a clue, like, hey, pay attention to what's happening to you, come check this out, see what's happening to you, right? A lot of times we get too spooked out to check into what's happening to us, when really it's like a level of growth you get, and it happens all the time when you're younger. But if you have parents that don't know and they're spooky spiritual or whatever, they just try and put you to sleep, children, that part of them gets put to sleep, and then they have to rediscover it as they get older, right? Which is kind of a, you wasting a whole lot of time, right? Especially if you don't start looking into it till you get into like your 30s or 40s, and y'all forbid if you in your 50s, like you like on the countdown. Not really, I hope not. Hopefully you got at least 50 more good years in you, right? So you can make up for lost time. But life really just begins when we transition, because they're still here. And something me and my sister was talking about, I say, you know what, I'm almost certain now that I understand why some random scriptures was just thrown right into the Bible, where it seemed when you get to a certain point, it's like they just seem out of place, out of the middle of everything that was just going on, and say this. And don't be triggered by this, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. It tells you not to talk to the dead. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I was like, I get it, but it seems like it's randomly thrown in here, and I don't quite understand yet, but we're gonna kind of keep to it. But now that I'm understanding what we really are, and how, I'm not just hearing that this is this. No, I really understand, because I'm operating in it. I'm going from in the body to out of the body, observing what's going on. And then why would somebody say don't talk to the dead and teach you about the dead in the Western culture the way that they do? Because, like, I really understood it yesterday, that when people pass from here, they are not dead. They never die, right? They never die. We never die. We just transition from one phase to the next, right? We just lose the ability to operate in this flesh, but the spirit is still living. And I so wish they hadn't taught us about people who die the way the way that they do here in the Western world. We mourn them like they're no more, because they are still here. A lot of them, especially if they go on to the grave ignorantly without learning about what we really are, I can almost guarantee you that they're still around here, right? And so then I also began to think about after I had got COVID, right? And so I really couldn't eat or anything. And so the only thing I could really do was like just lay there and pray and meditate. But remember when I was talking about, y'all, I'm having like all these dreams, all these dead people, like I'm seeing dead people. Like it sounded funny, it sounded crazy for me to say it, but like people that I knew, it was like they were here. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Is y'all coming to get me? Like, why am I seeing y'all? But something that I realized too, I'm like, okay, so I didn't die. And I started thinking about this. I'm like, all of these, even people that I know that passed in the military, that died from some work accident while we were active duty, even they, like people that I knew had passed away, and even some that I didn't recognize, but even also not necessarily, it was family members, friends, and friends of friends that I knew that had passed away. They were coming, and it kind of freaked me out because I didn't understand what was happening then. Oh my gosh, if I had known what was happening to me then, it just it just makes so much sense now today. In the last couple of days, it's making sense. When your vibration changes, right? Okay, so we may not hear from this realm, looking into the spiritual realm, we may not always be able to see them, but they can always see us. When your level of vibration raises a little bit higher to where you're on their level, they recognize it and they can come to you, right? And they're trying to get your attention, like, hey, right? But then in a church, they tell you, don't talk to the dead, right? And then some people use the words ancestors, and people get triggered by ancestors. They made it in a way to keep you away from the truth that's literally searching you out, trying to get your attention. And it's not that you're talking to the dead if you understand that dead is really not dead, right? It's those who are living, who are still caught here on this lower realm, that are trying to get your attention, because a lot of times, until somebody transcends that level of vibration that they're stuck at here, terrorizing family and friends, and they just, I mean, they just chilling, right? They ain't got nothing but time. If then time don't even exist. Time only exists here, right? And that's so we can kind of understand the increments of energy and what's happening. But time doesn't exist for them. It's nothing for them, which is why you have some that may have been there for decades. But if there's like nobody that comes through that can help them get unstuck there, they just kind of linger there so they can move on, right? But school still at every level of vibration, there is something you should be learning, whether you're in the body or out of the body. School still goes on, and you're not 100% perfected. Now, your spiritual being is always like in this um perfect state, so to speak, right? Where it doesn't die, but it still needs like cleansing. It needs to grow, but it needs to grow, but still there's like levels of teaching in school, even when you get into that realm. So you don't even become like a perfected spirit until you go through the different levels of training, right? Earth is just like, it's really just like I wouldn't necessarily say foundational level, but it's we can look at it as the foundational level to us who are here in the flesh. That's the best way I can say that from what I'm really understanding, right? And understanding the energy, and when you cross over, that like you are really not dead, like you never die, right? So when I was sick and all these dead people, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I about to die? Father, I'm about to die. I don't think I've been sinning. Why do I gotta go so early, right? So all these bitches being dumb, stupid, not really understanding, ignorant of what's really happening during that time, because I was praying, not just meditating there, because that's all I could do, because I couldn't move for anything, and I wasn't taking in any food. So it my body was just changing. And that was like for a period, like a week straight solid. And anybody who's done and is familiar with water fast or juice fast, you'll realize that when you're doing that, whether you're sick or whether you're well, you'll begin to have more spiritual things happen to you, right? But what I wasn't understanding was that my vibration was changing. So they were being attracted to me. And even when they were trying to talk to me, I still got this whole church mindset, don't talk to the dead, don't talk to the dead, don't talk to the dead. But I wasn't realizing, my G, they're not dead. They never died. They're trying to help you. I'm like, holy crap. So as of the last couple of days, and thinking about a lot of different things people say, we're triggered by some people we may hear who stay in Africa that talk about the undead, or those who pass on, that we in the West, oh, they dead, my G. Don't talk about the ancestors. Let them rest. My G, half of them ain't resting, right? They kind of stuck And they trying to get your attention because you're still in a place where you can raise your vibration, and when you transcend and you can readily go in and out. And when you get to Mr. Monroe's third book, they did a lot of experimentations for people who were trapped just here. They're still on earth, right? Like they haven't gone to heaven, they haven't gained wings, right? They're still here, but we can help them if we learn while we still have our bodies, for one, so we don't get stuck there. But two, the things that they miss, they still have to learn before they can ascend higher. I was like, yo, that makes so much sense. And started thinking about some of the different things. Although I wouldn't talk to them, they was trying to get my attention. Even my grandma was like, Grandma, look, I ain't supposed to be talking to you. You dead. And Aunt Shelley, my daddy, I don't know, all y'all. Why? Y'all know. Look, and they just sit there. They just sitting like, this girl has got to be the dumbest. And so, but they do. They're like here, and they be following me around, and I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking like it's dreaming. So I'm like, wait a minute, y'all might really be stuck here, So, and I began to think about their lives while they were here and what they've done. At least things that I'm knowledgeable about. I'm like, oh, I could see why you could still be here with us. So y'all, it's really interesting. So some of the stuff that I'm learning, some of the personal experiences that I've experienced, I'm going to bring it out in hopes that it help you. If you got some information, you share it with all of us, right? We got to work this thing out together, right? When they pass away and we holler and scream like they no more, and people go into deep depressions and stuff. If you really understood, first of all, they probably still here with you just can't see them. But if you begin to cleanse your body and you begin to raise your own frequency or vibration, you begin to instruct your spirit and grow up, you literally could get on the same wavelength, and they may show up and they can tell you because they know, but you have to be able to hear them. They know what they're missing in order to get to the next level to where they have to go. And if they're coming to you, you you could probably possibly be able to help them. They can tell you what they need. And I ain't saying go offer them no animal, nothing, give them alcohol. Nothing. That's not what I'm talking about. We ain't talking about people that's doing that. I'm talking about real life stuff. They want to be unstuck. Some of them are really here and they're concerned about family and they don't want to let them go. And that's another reason why some of them stay here as well, right? Because they're really concerned about who's still alive, who they left behind, whether it's a spouse or their children or a grandbaby or something like that. They're still here. And it's their choice. Like if they can go, it's crazy. They still have choice to where they want to stay here until you come, or they're gonna go ahead and progress on, right? But they're still there. A lot of time you may see them in your dream, they may say something. It may not really be your overactive imagination. It really could be them. And when you're asleep, a lot of times, because your spirit leaves your body and the mind is quieted, that's the only time you can really kind of bring your vibration up to where they're at, which is a lot of time where you will see them, right? And you get information from them that's 100% accurate and correct. And we wonder about it when we come back here to the physical realm. And you got teachers who are ignorant and don't know, and just say, look, just stay away from them. Don't talk to dead. It's witchcraft. Don't do it. You're going to go to hell for it. Right? Guys, we really got to look into this stuff. We got to quit being scared and just really look at the obvious things. And some of this, that's all I'm going to say for now. Your mom is active in your dreams. I would really pay attention. A few people tell me that who's parent of a parent or parents, or maybe a child has passed away, right? Really start paying attention, like write it down, because some stuff, if it's a dream, you might forget, but some of them are so lucid and so vivid that you never forget. So I would definitely keep track, especially y'all, the path that we're on now, it's going to probably begin to increase, which is a sign for you to really be paying attention, right? It'll help you adjust and grow spiritually for whatever it is you're doing, but it'll help you bring you to a higher level. Even if you're still scared, just still take note, write it down, and just revisit it from time to time so you can see. Because I'm 100% sure at this point today, from the last couple days, that these are clues that are literally to help us to grow, and also to help them, those who are stuck and can't like fully transition to that next phase of growth or the next phase of school, right? Because we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Okay. All right, y'all. So who we at? Ooh. Let me finish reading this little portion right here, then we'll jump into my big toe. Okay. Let me go back. I'll just start this one over. This is the book of the crossings, the descent of Inanna, Ishtar, Isis into the underworld, and of the crossings of the dead. Rituals that priests of Anu have called the opening of the mouth. And that's what triggered this, the opening of the mouth, right? Or the opening of the matrix, opening of the mother's vagina for the child to come through. That's what's happening when we leave here. We're literally at the opening of the mouth, right? We're literally about to be born. How do we know? Hezekiah said, how do we know if the dead is trying to reach out to us? I don't recall hearing my father. I mean, if they are, like, you will know, like, you'll start dreaming about them, at least in my personal experience, right? They're gonna just start showing up, right? They're trying to tell you something. Like my grandma, like she be trying to get my attention. I'm like, and at this now, as of today, I'm gonna stop doing that, right? I'm gonna just be paying attention. Be like, okay, grandma, what you trying to tell me? Right? Because she be trying to get my attention, and she had a look on her face like, pay attention, silly, like she did when she still had her fleshy body, like, pay attention, And when that last dream that I think I shared this one with y'all, there was a picture frame and there was something going on. She was like, because I'm like, grandma ain't supposed to be talking to you, something. And so she didn't say, she just kind of closed her mouth and she made the face that I recognized when she was in the flesh, like, pay attention, silly. And she was like, at the picture. Now I put my eyes on the picture, and whatever was in that picture was a big, pretty, ancient picture frame. There were things in this frame I knew that I was going to need. She said, pay attention to what they're taking away. You're going to need it. And there was guys, they looked like they had on painters or movers uniforms, and they recognized, when she got my attention, they recognized that she had gotten my attention and that I was now paying attention to what they were doing, and they began to move faster to move these things out of the picture. And it happened in a matter of seconds, and they completely removed everything. But I caught a few things because the picture was like almost half full by the time they realized that I realized what was happening. And they began to move extremely fast, like literally, like, say this screen right here, in my dream, inside of this picture frame, miniature man recognized what was going on, and everything that was left in that picture, they began to pick up and run it outside of the picture frame, like taking it out the door or something, but literally going outside of that picture frame, dropping it, coming back and getting everything else. My grandma was like, pay attention, you're gonna need that. They've taken it away, you got to go find it, right? So I'm like, oh snap. I'm like, okay, right? So it's give me the chills when I think about it. So all these little pieces of this puzzle, I'm thinking is, and clearly I know it to be true. I know I ain't losing my mind. I know I ain't tripping because I'm actually experiencing this. I'm still at just like the Lord baby pre-kindergarten gaga goo goo levels of this, but I know, wait a minute, hold on, our body is really a vehicle that our spirit drives. Hold on, my G. Just like you got to keep up maintenance on your car, you got to put the right gas in to keep it clean. It's the same with these vehicles. Otherwise, your spirit is not going to be able to grow and get the things that it needs before it is actually truly born and leaves this realm. Like, this is literally inside of the mother's womb. And when we leave here, hopefully you will leave fully developed. A lot of people don't leave fully developed. Like, they are they are stillborn, right? They're born with deformities, but they can choose. From what I understand, you can, if you're trapped here, if you haven't developed enough while you are physically in your body, if you have not developed enough while you were here in your physical body, and you're trapped on the lower levels that keeps you here and like one level up above the flesh, you have the opportunity to come back and try it again. But those who raise higher, they normally don't come back. They literally stay in the unseen realm and continue to grow and reach new heights, right? But they can help those who are below, just like we was learning about the ascension of the 70 steps in Egypt with Joseph and Pharaoh. It's like that same thing. I was like, oh snap, this is amazing, right? They can choose, right, which we call reincarnation. Some people's explanation or maybe understanding of reincarnation may not be quite correct, but you can choose, right? You can choose to come back and do it again. And some people have to constantly come back because they every time they come back to do it again because they're trying to literally get to a higher level to beat beat this level of the game, so to speak. You know how we talked about deja vu moments? All of this began to make sense. It's like not that you're leading the same life over again or whatever, but you have deja vu moments. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I've done that before, right? You'll literally have these moments, and those are also clues. I realized, like, wait a minute, those are clues of something, but those are clues. And if you're having those moments, you probably had to come back again, right? And this time I've learned so much this time, and now that I understand, I was like, I am not transversing this earth again. I was like, I don't know how many times I done had to come back and do this. I was like, but this if at this point, this is gonna be my last. I'm just gonna keep growing. I'm working on all this scary stuff because religion is it's not necessarily a trap, but it is a trap. It'll keep you just if you're familiar with playing video games, this is the best way. I keep using that because I got kids and they do it and I'm kind of familiar with it. And it's easier to understand that way. If you ever played a video game, right, you have to go through different phases. Think about everybody familiar with Mario Brothers, right? Okay, so you have all these levels you got to beat and different things. You get like the superpower where you can grow bigger. Like all these things that I'm learning, they actually put it in video games. And I don't think people really be paying attention for real. I was like, oh, stop these things, whoever created this really understood something. So there are different obstacles and different levels of life that you have to pass, otherwise you get booted out the game. You got to start over. And it's kind of the earth realm is kind of set up like that in every arena, whether you choose, like, seriously. And I'm literally looking at life and how it unfolds in such a different way that it's like, this is interesting. A lot of things that we complain about, even complaining about the school system and stuff. But even if you go through the public school system, it's still kind of like that same process ingrained in it. And although my children are in the public school system, we homeschool, I can still it's still kind of like that same hidden process that's designed to grow you in different ways. And granted, I know there's the argument public schools don't teach kids nothing, they come out dumber than what they went in. I get all of that. But if you just step back, remove all the emotion and everything that the culture gives you, pay attention. Each level of life, whether you're single, whether you getting married takes you on like another level to grow, but it's like that same process starting over at the very beginning, like you began at birth. You got to start over. Now you have to learn how to work with a team member, whether you join the military and go through boot camp, right? We all come in as individuals and they have to mesh us, make us, mold us into a cohesive team where we work together. If you ever gone through boot camp, you get in there first, everybody kind of shy, like, hey, how you doing? Everybody trying to figure out who's who, where you from? Oh, I'm here, okay. And then the click, as you after like about that first couple weeks, now everybody's kind of familiar with everybody, and cliques began to form. You got the ones from Jersey over here, you got the New Yorkers, we got some from over here, or it'll split into from the West Coast, some from the East Coast. All these different factions began to develop, right? And then after the factions develop, everybody find their clique. Now we got to find something to bicker about, right? And that's when everybody start getting in trouble because they're still trying, and they know this, right? It happens. When I say this happens everywhere, it happens everywhere in every phase of life. It's just on a different level. Even whether you're at the job, you're the new person at the job. Soon you get there, you find out who is who, what cliques are who eat lunch together, the snobby ones who's always at the water cooler. All of it, it's this same process happening all over again because it's trying to teach you something. Earth is literally trying to teach you some principles that they don't necessarily bring out to us, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. When I say Earth is a school, y'all, Earth is really a school, and it doesn't matter whether you're in a black body or you're in a white body, you in a Chinese body. It's the same thing that's happened. Okay, now that we different colors, oh, we done found our clique, right? And some of them will mingle, but some of them will stay away from this, but it's still that same thing. Like, when y'all gonna get it? We didn't give y'all. We trying to give y'all this level, this lesson on every level, and y'all still acting a fool. Don't really know what's going on, right? Same thing with the religions. You find your clique, and now, oh, we Christians, we Buddhists, we Islam, right? It's the same. Yes, babe. When I say, going back in there, don't start that. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it seems like we don't get it, right? But some of us do. Like, we kind of wake up, we was like, okay, it seems like things are going in a circle. Why are we not growing? We still waiting on Jesus, or we waiting on Yahweh Shai or Yahusha to come back. It's like, yo, you just stuck in the mix. You still ain't got it, but keep on going, right? So now, after we realize, okay, so ain't nobody really coming back to get us. No, nobody's coming to get you. And I know that sounds like blasphemy, even to maybe a few ears that hear. Ain't nobody coming back to get you, my G. Jesus ain't coming to get you. Yahweh Shai ain't coming to get you. Yahusha ain't coming to get you. You waiting to be delivered from Babylon. You will not be delivered from Babylon, my G. You waiting to go to the wilderness. You ain't going to the wilderness that the Church of the Hebrew Roots is telling you going to. You ain't going there. It's just not happening. How long is y'all gonna sit and wait? Time is ticking away. I'm just waiting to be delivered from Babylon. I'll be sitting here laughing. I'm like, oh, they ain't got it. They still stuck in the clicked up level. They still haven't learned how to work together, right? And so once you start getting in trouble and things not happening, frustrations begin to set in because you're not understanding. You're still not working together, right? He coming to save us, but you going to hell. The earth gonna be destroyed because you didn't treat God's kids right. Really? Oh no, it's gonna be here for a very long time. And if y'all don't get it right, y'all gonna do this till you go to the grave, and then you still gonna be stuck. You ain't gonna have to come back and do it again. You're gonna be stuck on the lower levels, right? I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was like, is anybody listening? But something I also realized, you have to individually grow yourself. Nobody can push you in that direction. You literally have to recognize. This is how you grow. You literally yourself have to recognize what's going on, and you have to initiate the process. Wait a minute. And you have to step out of that circle and move to the next level of growth, because they're going to always be. The religious circles going to always be. They think Yahweh Shai somebody coming to get them. We'll come back in 10 years. They still going to be waiting, talking about the 400 years. Bruh, I know this sounds like, oh my God, what? We ain't leaving? Like, no, he ain't. And you do well to start moving along here, right? Pay attention to who's leaving. They kind of, people who are picking it up, you can tell, yo, they start, wait a minute. It's like they wait a minute. It's like they wake up in the middle of the twilight zone, like, and it's like they be like, have you noticed? What you mean, have you noticed? Jesus about to come get us. No, I haven't noticed. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep praying. And I'm like, okay, they probably still sleep. Back away, and you go, psst, psst, hey, have you noticed? Have I noticed what? It's like everybody is sleeping. When you wake up, it's like you wake up bit by bit, and everybody doesn't wake up at the same time. There may be like they wake up to a certain level just to find themselves in another level of delusion, right? And it's like, oh, the only person that's going to say at this point here on the earth realm, the only person that's coming to save you is you yourself. You have to wake up, right? There are things that happen to us, spiritual thing. Now I realize it. There are spiritual things it's a certain level of supernatural things that are allowed to happen on this realm to wake us up. Pay attention. Like, you watch that movie Inception. Certain things, certain keys and things that they give you to wake you up, let you realize, wait a minute, hold on, we was dreaming, we was asleep, we was still in that matrix. Dunk them, or you hear the telephone, pull us out. It's certain things that are allowed to happen to get our attention, and a lot of time we not our attention is not being grabbed because the the manipulators of this realm, oh, they're very familiar with what's going on, but they also have jobs, right? A game wouldn't be a good game if you're able to figure it out right away, right? We got to throw frustrations in there. Oh, you thought you was getting past. Oh, you got that, but you ain't see this movie trap right here, right? And it's like, oh, gotta go back, right? It wouldn't be a good game, but every time you pass a certain stumbling block, you should take with you the lessons that you just learned. So now you kind of like hop through it, right? Ain't no telling how many times we had to come through this level. Like, okay, my G, look. And so every now my goal is every time I realize something, for those of us who are still, we realize, wait a minute, what's going on? Hey, hey. We start looking around and we see above, we kind of come up a little bit above the herded mass that got their heads in the sand, butt in the air. Once we lift our heads up over the butts, we can see other little heads popping up out the ground like little gopher heads, like, hey, you can hear me? You will? Oh, it stinks on this level. Let's go. We got to get out of here, right? So that's kind of like us. We then popped up over the butts and we smell a bunch of crap. We have got to go. We got to get out of this place right here. We got to get over here so we can first of all clear the air. It's too many butts in the air. We need some fresh air. All right, y'all. What's going on? Okay, what have you experienced? Where you come from? Where you come from? And we all at that, when you get to that point, you'll realize at this point, it's no longer about race and whose savior is who came to get you, because they gave when I tell you not necessarily stumbling blocks, I would say there are strategically placed obstacles on this earth realm that would trip up certain people depending on what type of vehicle you were given, i.e., the type of body and color you were given, whether it's male or female, or you black, white, Chinese, Native American, Asian, whatever, Hawaii, whatever, right? Those will trip you up. When you can learn to get over those and realize, first of all, my G, I am not this vehicle. Like, nobody, if y'all see me driving, oh, there go Pam driving down the street, you wouldn't refer to my truck as Pam. Pam is actually driving that truck, right? And Pam can at any time get out that truck at any time she wants to. If I want to travel, I can choose to travel myself, or I can choose to hop in my vehicle. I can tint my window so you don't know it's me, right? But everybody with good common sense would know that my truck is not me. It's the same thing with my body. Anybody that understands now, we know that our bodies are not really us. It's literally the vehicle that our spirit drives, which is why we can at will leave our bodies when we want to. Think about people also who get tired. You can choose to leave your body and not come back. Like some people say, like in the church, they teach you that, well, I guess. Okay, let me correct that. Okay, so there may be traumas or outside accidents that happen spontaneously or whatever. You get in a bad accident and then your body is no more. You die, right? That can happen. But people, as they get older and they're truly ready to go, they don't have to ask, hey, can I come leave the earth now? They can literally choose to leave and not come back. I don't know that I'm gonna share this yet because I'm gonna be all kind of messed up. um, but with my dad, I just share this. I think my dad chose to go because he was doing a little bit better, but we had put him. Well, we didn't necessarily put him in a rehabilitation center, but they was picking him up every day to where they would do the rehabilitation stuff with him, and they would bring him back home every day. Right? Everybody's working full-time jobs. We gotta make sure he's being attended to and everything. So kind of got things set up, and he was with my sister who's an RN because she's like more experienced with the body and all this stuff, and so she was kind of carrying that load, right, while we were just doing other things to kind of help around. But we noticed this one particular weekend, eh, if you knew my dad, my dad doesn't like is not the type of person that likes to be a burden on anybody, right? And so we had begun to feel that although he wasn't talking anymore, we had begun to feel like he felt that he was being a burden on us, right? And so we just kind of we talked about it a little bit, me and my siblings. And so after we kind of had this talk, and this is how I know, right? Because once we realized that, I was like, okay, Alicia, you gonna have to like have that conversation. We don't know that we're gonna be able to do it. Alicia, she's a nurse. She's like that. She gonna get it done, right? So she had this conversation. I think it was a third. Was it Thursday? I gotta look back at the dates. But they were coming like every day to pick my dad up for the physical therapy and everything, kind of get him moving his limbs and stuff and all that. But when he although he wasn't talking, he was still kind of interacting, but it was a point where we realized that he might be feeling a certain type of way that we have to be his main caretakers now, right? Because my dad was on the way. What was my dad? 57? He was 57. I think he was 57. I got to double check. Daddy, forgive me. I know my dad is still here on this earth. He still, he hasn't ascended higher. Look, but we began to understand that he felt like he was being a burden on us, and he didn't want to do that anymore, right? Because we had to, and not necessarily the rest of us, but more so my sister Alicia, who's a nurse. She really had to adjust her life a lot because she was the main caretaker and he was living with her. So some things, and had to move him around in a wheelchair because he couldn't walk anymore, and had to do the heavy lifting and bathe them and all of those things. And we really felt like he, although he was grateful that his daughters was doing that, our brother, he had went to Washington and everything, that he had loved ones caring for him. We just kind of felt and knew that he didn't really want to be a burden to us anymore. And so after we kind of had the conversation amongst ourselves, Leisha went to talk to him, was like, Dad, it's okay, we don't mind, but if you, and we just, and you got to really be careful, right? You have to really be careful with what you tell people, because like we had already knew, like, because we like, if we tell him this, he can probably just choose to go and he'll be out of here in a matter of days. And that's what happened. It was like, after we had the conversation amongst ourselves away from him, and then my sister actually went to him and let him know that we're okay, we're going to be okay. If you're tired and you're ready to go, we're okay. We love you, we'll never stop loving you, but if you're tired and you don't want to do this anymore, or you don't want us doing this for you, it's okay. We won't be sad, we won't be mad, but it's okay, right? The day my sister finally had the conversation with him, the next day when they came to pick him up, she just knew when they came, is when she was trying to get him ready the next day, because they was coming to pick him up to take him to rehabilitation. She knew when she got up not to send him that day. And even when she went there, he was like more kind of lethargic and everything. And she was like, okay, well, Dad, we're not gonna send you today. Yeah, that was a kind of like, she had a conversation with him on Thursday, and I think it was the Friday they came to pick him up, and it was like over the weekend. And that's when, remember, I was telling you the other day, I kind of got all messed up. We had read that end of life road path and all this stuff where we could recognize what they're doing when they're transcending out. We began to recognize it, and it was literally, it began happening the day after we had the conversation. I had the conversation with him, like, yeah, he's tired, he's gonna choose to go. And it was after that conversation, our dad was gone within 3 days. And we picked up right on it. He was, he just, we know our dad, right? And like I said, like, even before, in the younger days, he had an accident happen when he was working at the because he was an engineer, and he had like this, I'll never forget it. I don't, my mom probably still here, but he had this torch blow up on him in his hand while he was at work, and he had real bad burns. It blew up and it burnt him all over his stomach. So I remember kind of hearing conversations, kind of eavesdropping, because I was like a nosy child. He got the care he needed, but women looking out for you kind of hurt. Ooh, don't do that, what you need, but my dad, we could sense that my dad was getting irritated. And I remember hearing him say, I don't know, my mom remember, but I remember hearing him say, I'm not an invalid, Pinky. And I'm like, ooh. And I just kind of kept that to myself. I'm like, okay. So my dad, he, like a man's man, I got this. You don't need to do that for me, and now by him at the end of his days, having his children to have to care for him when he's not an old man, just 57 years old, right? But what other choice did you have, right? He had all this dignity and proudness about himself, and I understand that, so that, and a lot of times when people are ready to go. Not saying that because it's never easy thing when people leave this realm. It's really not. But it's because we don't understand. I think if we're taught better, first of all, what we are, who we are, why we're here, what this earth really is, not that the process would be any easier, because I really don't think it would, and we may not necessarily grieve for shorter periods of time because we're going to miss them. We're missing their presence being here with us. But if we realize that I ain't gonna say all the time, well, at least all the time, for a period of time, they are still here. Because when they transition, they go checking. They make their rounds checking, like if they're ready to go and transcend, like if they've actually developed themselves, they'll stay here for a short period of time, and they'll make their rounds visiting family. Although family may not see them, they could be completely ignorant that they're there. They will make their rounds, and they'll do like their, not last goodbyes, but it's really like, I'll see you soon. I don't know how long it's gonna be before you get to where I'm going, but I'll see you soon. Because they have to still keep growing. Like, it's literally a school. It's transitional schools at each level, right? And even the spirit realm, that base level of the spirit, you still sense a lot of sexual energy and stuff. A lot of that can be brought into this realm. It's still there, so but they just transition. But those who aren't quite ready to go, or haven't developed quite enough to lift off higher, so to speak, if their spirits are still heavy, they're going to kind of be hovering around the earth realm before they get to go a little bit higher, so to speak, and continue learning. But yeah, so we knew within a couple of days, and everything, it just kind of, with my dad, began in succession. It began to happen. And it seemed like he was just kind of waiting for us to know that we was going to be okay before he decided, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Because his body really, it possible with long work, it possibly could have been rehabilitated, possibly. But the more I think about it, and now that I look at different things and thinking about some of the doctor's reports and looking at stuff, I think his body was possibly past the point of rehabilitation. Like his cars, some cars, it's just like, it ain't good for nothing else but the fire, right? And it's something you just have to upgrade, because you can't use it anymore. Although you can take it and refurbish it, put a whole new engine in it. Sometimes it's like the model is so outdated, and it's only so many upgrades. It ain't gonna be an antique. It's just gonna be an old repainted car. It's only certain vehicles that they give that antique status and becomes a lot more expensive after it's been refurbished and upgraded. A lot of them don't. It's just like, send it to the junkyard. I'm just gonna have to do this again. Right? Okay. Jen said, oh, hold on. So, I miss Hezekiah. Hezekiah said, laugh out loud. That resonates with me a lot. I always thought deja vu was weird. Oh, when I was talking about deja vu, okay. And it feels like I've been here before. Thank you for the insight. You're welcome. Jen said, a week before my mom passed, she would see people that weren't there. Her grandma, a little girl, she would smile and reach her hand out to someone. Oh, yeah, they often do. When they're right there and they're about to transition. That's why when I was sick, I was like, oh my gosh, y'all coming to get me? I'm like, I ain't ready to go yet. But they do. I remember when my grandma was about to pass away, my aunt had this little poodle dog. But she said at a certain point, the dog ran. It was like the dog was seeing somebody else in the room, and it ran into the bathroom and would not come out. So I don't doubt. I know. I forgot my dog name already. But anyway, oh, how could I forget? Her dog name was Bella. Probably trying to put it out my mind because I don't want to think about a dog when I think of my daughter, because it's what we call our daughter. But yeah, I completely understand that Bella, the dog, saw it. It was probably a couple people there in the room with my grandma when she was about to go. But yeah. Okay, y'all. So look, I still didn't get past the same sentence I said I was gonna read past. I'm gonna pause right here. We're gonna just start this whole tablet seed, because I only read the first sentence, and I read it again, starting to go on, but still didn't get past the first sentence. Okay, stop right here. We'll come back here. Where we at? We had an hour, 18 minutes. Let me read a couple sentences of my big toe. Hold on. Yeah, so this gets quite interesting as you think about it. You come out of all the religious circles and everything, and really just sit and just kind of think through things with common sense. and don't stay away from things because they didn't schedule you can go to hell. Don't you do that. Just kind of put all that stuff away for the moment and really just do just a little bit of investigating, right? Do some real checking into stuff, right? All right. Okay, so we pause on page 184 in chapter 24. And I'm gonna read like a couple paragraphs of this because there's still another little long, short aside, and it's actually okay. I'll finish reading this little short aside, and then we'll pause like right here. Okay, so I finished reading this part. Okay, models should anyways models should always remain tentative to preclude shutting themselves off from the possibility of further evolution. For the sake of argument and to give proper credit to those who believe that belief and knowledge can never be entirely separated, let's take the opposite view. Even if this trilogy represents my belief and is an effort to convince you to believe what I believe, the potential it holds for you is undiminished as long as you approach it with open minded skepticism and resist the compulsion to either believe it or disbelieve it. There is no reasonable, rational, or logical alternative to open minded skepticism. My big toe, among other things, represents a personal map of the reality I have explored and the explanations I have created to make coherent sense out of my individual experiences because of the personal because of the personal nature of experience. Your experiences will be somewhat different from mine. However, if your experience is interpreted and gathered scientifically and not created out of belief or fear, then the underlying truth from which both of our experiences spring will be perceived as the same. That's kind of like what we was just talking about. Oh, let me read this again. Listen to this. My big toe, among other things, represents a personal map of the reality I have explored and the explanations I have created to make coherent sense out of my individual experiences. Because of the personal nature of experience, your experiences will be somewhat different from mine. However, if your experience is interpreted and gathered scientifically, and not created out of belief or fear, then the underlying truth from which both of our experiences spring will be perceived as the same. The underlying truth is absolute, the same for everyone, and is not a function of our experience or our existence or anyone else's. This is why my map, though it reflects my individuality, can serve as a valuable guide for you. Though the destination, which is big truth, is the same for everyone. That's what we're in search of, the big truth, right? The big truth of everything. We're growing our big toe, right? Though the destination, which is big truth, is the same for everyone, you must take your own journey and find your own way, right? A word about truth. Many people think of truth in terms of local and universal truth. Local truth may be relative, it may be in the eye of the beholder. It is sometimes dependent upon the perspectives and beliefs of the individual. This is not the truth I am referring to. Universal or absolute truth is the same for everyone. It is timeless and unchangeable. The paths to absolute truth, big truth, and the individuals who walk and the individuals who walk those paths can be so different that the description of the same absolute truth may appear to be very different, particularly to those of less understanding. Individual interpretations are, as they should be, a reflection of that big truth within the mind and experience of that individual. A group or similar by depth of understanding, but different by path, culture, and personality, truly wise and knowledgeable individuals would view the differences in each other's descriptions of the same absolute truth as insignificant and trivial. Let me read that again. That was pretty long. Let me break it up and read a little bit slower. A group of similar by depth of understanding, but different by path, culture, and personality, Truly wise and knowledgeable individuals would view the differences in each other's descriptions of the same absolute truth as insignificant and trivial. Unfortunately, in their absence, their less knowledgeable followers may actually kill each other over the apparent differences as they vie for relative power and superior correctness within their own and competing organizations, kind of like what we was just talking about again, talking about the different races of people and stuff, right? The religions, right? You're a little less knowledgeable than some of, not that we know more, but we know just a little bit more to realize that the color of our skin, whether we're male or female, is completely insignificant to what we really are. Yo, I'm gonna read this one more time. This is so good, y'all. A group of similar by depth of understanding, but different by path, culture, and personality. Truly wise and knowledgeable individuals would view the differences in each other's descriptions of the same absolute truth as insignificant and trivial. Unfortunately, in their absence, their less knowledgeable followers may actually kill each other over the apparent differences as they vie for relative power and superior correctness within their own and competing organizations. Whew. The actual differences between descriptions of the same absolute truth are, after differing language, culture, and religious modes of expression are removed, are much smaller than what you would likely imagine. This is because all spiritual paths converge on the same absolute truth by means of reducing ego and fear, which are the primary generators of confusion and divisiveness. Oh my gosh, this just preach by itself. That'll preach. That's kind of like the example that we just gave when we raise up our heads over the butts, head in the sand, butts in the air. The title from yesterday's kind of like play on words if y'all got it. When we raise our heads up and we see nothing but butts, but we see sporadic little heads. Hey, it's stinky, don't it? Let's get over here and figure this out, right? That's us rising above the fear, the religion, the wars between the colors of the races, the wars between the genders and male and female, and we realize, hold on, my G, what's really going over here? They still ain't got it yet, but we cannot. It literally stinks over there. We got to keep going, yo. Okay. I'm going to read this one more time. Let me hurry up and finish this. The actual differences between descriptions of the same absolute truth are, after differing language, cultural, and religious modes of expression are removed, much smaller than you would likely imagine. This is because all spiritual paths converge on the same absolute truths by means of reducing ego and fear, which are the primary generators of confusion and divisiveness. Models can be a practical representation of an underlying truth or process. The shell model of the atom is not based on a theory of why atoms, like mollusks, should have shells. The shells are simply assumed. The model is useful because it explains some of the data better than any other viewpoint. Believing in the shells is intellectually limiting silliness. What are atomic shells made of and where do they come from are not reasonable questions. Atomic shells are only conceptual tools. They are a metaphorical structure describing, modeling, an underlying reality. My big toe is also conceptual. We know that from our limited 3D perspective and local objective causality, a big toe that reaches beyond physical matter reality absolutely must have at least one mystical leg to stand on. That mystical leg must be beyond the reach of our objective physical matter reality based logic. As you recall, that same logical requirement was placed upon our understanding of our local reality's beginnings. See chapter 18 of this book. Causality and rationality require that we enter the metaphysical or mystical realm from the physical matter reality point of view whenever we go beyond physical matter reality. The existence of an apparently infinite absolute something seems both mystical and vague from our physical matter reality perspective or from the fleshly perspective, trying to understand spiritual things. Nevertheless, that is not a weakness of this model. Quite the contrary, it is a requirement. We're going to pause here in a few sentences. A big toe that contains no mystical from physical matter reality view, assumptions must necessarily be incorrect or incomplete and can logically never amount to more than a little toe focused solely upon physical matter reality. A little toe restricted to physical matter reality, objective causality, can never, even theoretically, grow up to be a big toe because it has, by definition, shut itself off from the solution space required to span the data. As we have shown, little toes can have nothing logical to say about our beginnings or our relationship to the circumstances of those beginnings. And we'll pause right here. This is so good, y'all. This is so good. I hope y'all keeping up with me, right? Y'all probably don't see all the extra stuff that I'm taking in when we not here, but I'm taking in a lot of information, and I'll share it with you, and I'll give the references just in case on your free time you got some extra time you want to get it to just to kind of see my point of view a little bit better. I'll share it, but do your own research. Don't just wait for resources from me, which I know y'all not. I know y'all enjoy the ones that I give you because it adds to your learning with the resources you have. And I really appreciate the resources that you guys share with me, especially and I'm probably saying it wrong, the Oshapi. I done screwed it up. I'm sorry. The person that shared that reference with me yesterday, but I kind of came across. I actually didn't hear about it until they mentioned it. And when they mentioned it a few days ago, I started looking into it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But I've noticed some of what was in that particular reference, I had already begun learning while learning some of the stuff in Egyptology and kind of connecting it with the older text. What is it? Sumerian text and stuff, right? Okay, so with that being said, you're welcome, Lindsay. I said outstanding, informative read. I love this. I love every day that we grow more and more. All right, beautiful people. So if you were here at the beginning of the video, you will realize, like I said yesterday, I could no longer do it anymore. Look, so we're adjusting how we come in and how we go out. And I know, look, I was telling my sister, I was like, I done got Bella all up doing the blessing. Not that the blessing is wrong, right? But we're adjusting as we grow. I was like, now I created all this. I got her good and going. And then I was like, you know what? As I was saying it, I was like, nobody created that box but me. I said, I created that. And I put my baby in it. I was like, now we're going to have to adjust it. So when she come, we probably still have to, when she come, let's do the blessing. We just going to have to, I don't want to start early putting my children in the box. And the boxes that I've realized I've already created just from previous conditioning or previous life experiences where I didn't know any better. I'm trying to go through and break all of that, right? And I'm sorry for putting y'all in the box. So this is the way we have to start. This is the way we have to end, because that is not so. So when we started today, we didn't do the Shema, right? And one of my main reasons for adjusting that is because in our search for big truth, make sure that we really know who the creator of all truly is, right? The things that I'm realizing that were actually created to worship lesser gods or other energies, we're going to adjust that. And we're no longer going to use them in reference to Yah. Although that's what we were kind of doing ignorantly. But now that I know better, we got to do better. Like it for the last week or so, when I read it was like gravel in my mouth. You could probably see it if you paid attention to me real close. You go back and watch the videos. And I was just like, oh, I can't. It just got to a point. I should have been stopped. That I should have been adjusted. But it's got to the point I just can't do it anymore. So I hope y'all understand. If you've grown really attached to Shema, you keep on doing the Shema in your own time. But we're just going to adjust it here. So we just started it. We kind of like Father, help us in our search of truth. Right? So in the end, we're going to do the same thing. Father, thank you for all that we've learned up until today. We ask you that you continue to help us to continue to grow daily. Any religious boxes we've created ourselves or we allowed other people to create and put us in, help us to tear down all the walls so that we can see truth for what it really is. Help us to uncover hidden truth, things that we've covered up ourselves because we fear it. Help us to deal with the fear so we can go and uncover the clues that you left for us in our path of growth. And give us the strength and the courage to walk it out on a daily basis, and give us the strength and courage and help us to be able to formulate in words those things that we're learning, that we can help our brethren and our sisterin that's coming along these same paths. We can help make it easier for them. So help us help you, or help us help each other while we grow in our levels here on this earth realm. All right, y'all. That's it. It's gonna probably be different, like every day, beginning and end. But y'all get the gist of what I just said. All right. With that being said, beautiful people, I love y'all. Today it is Friday, February 25th, 2022, day 40 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. We read a little bit of actually we finished all the tablet B, and we started like the first sentence of tablet C, which is just gonna start it over tomorrow, of the Complete Annunaki Bible, and we read a page of my big toe. We started on 184 and we paused on 185. All right, beautiful people, I love y'all. With that being said, I see y'all back here tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Bye, y'all.